South China Sea, China calls USS Stethem warship a provocation. Beijing has called the presence of a U.S. warship near a disputed island in the South China Sea a serious political and military provocation. The USS Stethem sailed close to Triton Island, part of the Paracel Islands archipelago, claimed by China and others. China responded by sending military vessels and fighter jets to the area. It happened hours before U.S. President Donald Trump and Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping spoke on the phone. During the call, Mr. Xi told Mr. Trump that negative factors were affecting U.S.-China relations, according to a readout of the call carried on Chinese state TV. A White House statement about their call did not say if they had discussed the incident. It said the leaders had instead reaffirmed their commitment to a denuclearized Korean peninsula. The U.S. has repeatedly warned China against its occupation and aggressive reclamation of islands in disputed waters, but Beijing says it is within its sovereign rights to do so. What happened near Triton Island? In a statement late on Sunday, China's foreign ministry confirmed reports that the USS Stethem had entered waters claimed by China. The warship had sailed within 12 nautical miles of Triton Island as part of its freedom of navigation operations, according to news agencies and Fox News citing U.S. defense officials. UN rules dictate that any territory can claim the waters up to 12 nautical miles from its coast. The sailing of a U.S. ship within those limits indicates the U.S. does not recognize those territorial claims. Beijing said it would use all necessary means to defend national sovereignty and security. It also accused the U.S. of deliberately stirring up troubles in the region as China and Southeast Asian neighbors have cooled down and improved the situation. The tiny island is also claimed by Vietnam and Taiwan. China has been embroiled in maritime disputes with several of its regional neighbors in recent years. The U.S. conducts a program called Freedom of Navigation which challenges excessive claims to the world's oceans and airspace. It was developed to ensure all countries adhere to UN maritime rules. The U.S. State Department says the program operates through diplomacy, operational assertions by the U.S. military and consultations with other governments. The military operation is the second since Mr. Trump took office. In May, the USS Dewey sailed less than 12 nautical miles from an artificial island built by China called Mischief Reef, which is part of the Spratly Islands. U.S. Defense Secretary James Mattis said a few days later that the U.S. would not accept China's militarization of man-made islands in the region. In previous years, the U.S. has conducted such operations against China, Malaysia, the Philippines, Taiwan, and Vietnam. What is the South China Sea dispute about? Rival countries have wrangled over territory in the South China Sea for centuries, but tension has steadily increased in recent years as Beijing has begun reasserting its claims. The area is a major shipping route, and a rich fishing ground, and is thought to have abundant oil and gas reserves. The various islands and waters are claimed in part or in whole by Taiwan, China, Vietnam, the Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Brunei. Much of the conflict has been centered on two clusters of islands, the Paracels and Spratlys. China claims the largest portion of territory, saying its rights go back centuries, and issued a map in 1947 detailing its claims. Under President Xi Jinping, China has ramped up its territorial assertions, building artificial islands and military facilities on reefs while also carrying out naval patrols in disputed waters. But China denies the accusations of militarization, saying the facilities are for civilian and defense purposes. Last year an international tribunal rejected Chinese claims to the area, backing a case brought by the Philippines. China called the ruling ill-founded and said it would not be bound by it. Gray Line. Superpower standoff. May 2017 U.S. warship sails close to disputed reef in Spratly Islands. May 2017 Chinese jets intercept U.S. aircraft over East China Sea. February 2017 U.S. carrier group begins routine patrols in South China Sea. December 2016 China returns seized underwater U.S. drone. May 2016 Chinese jets intercept U.S. spy plane over South China Sea. February 2016 Beijing accuses U.S. of militarization of South China Sea.